Well, welcome to the MBU Football Coaches Show. My name is Guy Danoff. I'm here with Coach B. Coach, the team went all the way to Iowa against number one Grandview, and the score was 49-17. And I was just kind of wondering, what did you guys take away from that game?
I think there's a lot we could take away. One of them, just that we've got to be a lot better. It was a great measuring stick to see where we are. I thought we played really well in week 1 against St. Ambrose. And what we talked a lot about was just taking the next step. And, I think one of the things is our youth and just we have so many new players in the game.
Right.
First time playing in an environment like that where you're playing number one. And I think at times we let the moment get too big for us. But, also at halftime, we really challenged them to just see, like, who are we? And I feel like when we kind of took the pressure off, kind of boosting things up a little bit, we were much more the Spartans that we saw in week 1.
Right.
And we went out and played really well in the second half. Granted, they didn't have their starters in the entire half, but we went out and outscored them 17-7, and they had their starters in for much of the third quarter, some of them even into the fourth quarter. And their last touchdown that they scored, they put starters in that ended up making that play. So, I think what we come out of there as a staff is that if we can just be us and focus on us and elevate the level of execution, that we can play with a lot of teams in this country. But obviously the way we started wasn't very good. We had again some missing pieces there that we didn't give starts to for one reason or another. And it's really just about setting the standard of what we will expect and what we do expect from these guys. And there were some guys who were benched the first half because they didn't live up to that. And, other guys stepped in, they did a great job, but there's a reason why they're starters.
Well, you say it best. Again, OTJ, right? For on-the-job training, or OJT, on-the-job training. And we got a chance to see that on Saturday.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff to take out of that. I think talking to the staff, there was a lot of technique issues that were coming up, and stuff that we brought up in the game plan that we weren't taking out to the field and executing. And so it just comes back to doing the little things, not worrying about so much who you're playing, what numbers next to their name, just following along with the game plan, sticking to your technique, because ultimately I think there's this subconscious mentality that we get into at times, all of us, not just, our guys on Saturday, but where, oh, we're playing this team, so we got to do something extra. We got to, maybe they're a little better than us, so I've got to do this to make sure I get my job done. The reality is the way you do that is you just stick to the plan and you focus on your technique and our preparation. I also, was honest with them in that our preparation wasn't as good going into this past week as it was the week before. And all of those things matter, there's an old saying, it all counts and it all matters. And it starts with what goes on the practice field, because then it shows up on the game field. And again, it is less about if we're playing Grandview or if we're playing St. Ambrose or William Woods or Graceland. It all comes back to the same spot. And you gotta prepare and you gotta put in the work every week.
Absolutely. So speaking about, let's talk about your quarterback, Jacob Jones. Coming into the game, he was the offensive player of the week, based on certainly how he did in the season opener. And here's just some stats. I know you're not completely big on stats, but our fans are. Talk about an impressive 2 starts, 43 for a 74, which is 58%, almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. Of course, he did have the 2 picks, but he's also added just under 93 yards of rushing, 2 rushing TDs through his first 2 games. How would you assess his progress thus far?
Well, his progress has been great. I mean, I think he's shown to be a great leader.
Yeah.
I think he's shown to manage games very well. There were times where he was running, getting pushed out of the pocket pretty quick.
Right.
And he never got frazzled. He just was the same guy. When he threw the interception, there was a miscommunication from the offensive line, and he actually gets a guy thrown into his lap as he's throwing that leads to the interception, and he walked off and he owned that.
Right.
Didn't point any fingers, didn't go up and start blaming anybody else. It was on me. Hey, I got to throw quicker. I got to do this. And, I think that's the mark of a true leader, is a guy who's going to sit there and set the tone, put everything on his shoulders, be a coach on the field. But overall, I thought he managed the game well. He didn't really force things. There was,
Nope.
his 2 interceptions were some situations that, I know he would prefer that back. There's other guys that would as well.
Right.
So, he just continues to progress, and he's shown to be a really dominant quarterback.
Absolutely. Now let's go to the defensive side. Let's talk about Evan D. Wilby. Evan has been putting on quite a show in that now he's got a team high 18 tackles through the first 2 games, 8 solo, 10 assists. Talk to us about Evan.
Well, we talked about him in week 1, but Evan is the program guy, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm really proud of Evan and what he has done is the work that he's put in and work that a lot of people don't see. He's a weight room junkie. He's been in the weight room for 4 years. He's on the film. He's a student of the game. And that he hasn't played as much because there's been guys in front of him who were a little bit more talented. But what I'm really proud and impressed with Evan is that he's gotten his shot and he's showing that he's ready for it.
Yep.
And that's what we keep talking to all these guys about. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman, if you're in Evan's situation, that's a guy that's down the line a little bit. But when you get an opportunity in life, you can't just walk through that door.
Right.
You got to kick the door down.
Right.
And you gotta make your presence known. And as Evan has done a great job of that, he's had a tremendous first 2 games. He's been the most consistent guy we have at linebacker, and it's all a credit to the work that he puts in on a daily basis.
Well, he's a fun player to watch. We're getting a chance to see him right here on Spartan Field this coming weekend. Speaking of that, this happens to be the Clash of the Week versus Graceland game. And that means our commissioner is going to be here. It's going to be kind of fun because think of it this way. The Heart of America Clash of the Week game is basically like the college game day game of the week. So it's kind of nice that there's going to be some extra people, certainly from the Heart being here as our guests. And that start kickoff will be at 11 a.m. Just want to make sure Spartan fans know that. So talk to us about Graceland. They're 1-1. They're coming off a 52-29 loss versus number 4 Benedictine. What stands out to you about their offense and defense?
Well, I think they play really hard. They've got some really good players on both sides of the ball. They've got a wide receiver that is one of the top wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver in all of NAIA football.
Yeah.
There was talk that he was maybe going to try and not come back. That 32 NFL teams have went through the door last year to look at him.
Oh, wow.
And he's on scouts radar. He's a tremendous player. I mean, he literally will catch anything and everything. So he's a dynamic player, but they've got other pieces around it. And they've got a new quarterback this year. He seems to be doing good things, but the guy they played in week 1 was different than what they played last week. So we got to kind of feel our way through that a little bit. But, they're going to throw the ball around. And on offense, they're going to throw the ball around a lot. I think last week they threw 51 times. So my message to the secondary is it's time to grow up. This is their time. And we know we're young there, but there's no more, hey, we're young. We've got experience. We've got to start making the plays that we know we can make. And this is going to be a great challenge for us. I think offensively, their defensive line is pretty good. They've got several guys back there. They run around. They're physical. They cover well. But I think it's one of those. It's going to be a chess match. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to come down to the wire. And ultimately, we know they're going to want revenge, right? We walked up into their place last year and got the win late, and they're going to want to come into our house and knock us off as well. So it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to come down to who's the toughest, most disciplined team. Something we talking about every week.
So what did you talk to your team about as you left to come back home? Certainly when you guys were at Grandview, because obviously now they adjust to getting ready for certainly Graceland.
Well, I think there's 2 messages. One is, like I already mentioned, that I was really proud of how they bounced back, because when you're down 42-0 at half, that thing can go either which way.
Right.
And what I wanted to see was what kind of football team do we have? And I think the football team that we have and what we saw third quarter is what I thought we had,
Right.
which is a group of tough-minded, competitive guys that aren't just going to roll over.
Right.
So I was really proud of that. So that was one of the messages. The second thing is that, we need to look at that as a measuring stick. They are the number 1 team in the nation for a reason. That's a good football team.
Right.
It's a measuring stick for us. What can we take away from, the entire process, right? Because we're very process oriented in what we do. So what can we take away? Can we take away that we need to be better in practice? Yes. Can we take away that there needs to be more preparation? And some of the little things that we talk about all the time, did those show up? They did. And so we just need to get back to doing that,
Right.
and then let everything else take care of itself. Come out, put in a great week of work. And ultimately, losing to Grandview, although we wanted to knock them off, they're in the North. So in our desire for conference championship,
Correct.
it's not really going to matter.
Right.
But it does have to be a wake up call for where we go from here. And I think they're going to respond.
No, that's a great point because I was talking with Jeff Ford, athletic directors, about that. And he said the exact same thing. It doesn't affect our ability to make the playoffs. However, I'll say this. I will echo this, what you said. I think it's actually great that you play them in week 2 because you now know what the bar is. And now you guys can really practice accordingly because now you got this great opportunity to go 2-1 on the season. So, Coach, what's kind of your message, certainly to Spartan Nation, as we now get our second home game right here? And of course, as you know, it's going to be the Heart of America Clash of the Week game. It's got to make you feel a little special.
Yeah.
Coming out to see you. But what's your message, certainly, to Spartan Nation?
Come out and support us. I think the atmosphere that they create when we're here at home is fantastic. It means a lot to our guys. Like you said, it's a clash of the week. It's an early game.
Yep.
So, they can get up here, enjoy college football at a very high level, and they're going to see a great game. We're going to be ready. They're going to be ready. I think it's going to be a great game between two really good teams that are very evenly matched. And I think if we do our thing and we show up like we did in week 1, get a few things nailed down. I think the biggest thing that I was proud of is, and we talked about this going into Grandview, is would we be physically dominated? And I don't think we were.
Right.
I don't think we were necessarily just physically dominated. So that's a good sign. We got to build off of that and take the positives, get a little more focused on the details, but we'll be ready.
Absolutely. So, Spartan Nation, you catch it all right here at Spartan Field in person. Again, that's 11 a.m. start this Saturday for Coach B. I'm Guy Danoff. We want to thank you guys for watching it right here on the Spartan Digital Network.